Hey guys, you're with me, Kevin, from cooking.co.za. And today we're here to have a quick look at the Real Meal Revolution book that we've got available on our website. This book is written by Professor Tim Noakes, Sally Ann Creed, Jonno Proudfoot, and David Grier. The book's proving really popular on our site because it delves into the Banting diet, which has become quite popular in the Southern African area. So first off, I see it's a really good quality book. It's quite big. It's got a big red cover, this particular edition. It is a softer cover, but it does have an open up section over here. You can write notes and all sorts of interesting things over here. The quality of the book is really good. It's really well illustrated, and it's a really big, heavy book. It's not one of the smaller type cookbooks you get. There's a lot of information on the inside here. So that said, let's dive on in to see what's going on inside. So opening the book up, first section we see over here is there's a picture of all the contributing authors, and moving further on the next page you have all the testimonials on the Banting diet, those people that have tried it and seen great results. Further on in, there is the contents. You've got your foreword, your introduction, how the diet was put together, what to expect, as well as the recipes towards the end of the book itself. It's really well illustrated. You can see a number of pictures over here. The pictures look really great. Foreword written notably by Gary Player. Gary Player has been a long-standing friend of Professor Tim Noakes and has written a really detailed foreword as to his views as far as this particular book and diet is concerned. And then they'll go into more information about the diet itself. They tell you what it's all about, the history of it, busting the myths, and you'll see as we move further, this book is backed by science. They've done a lot of work into it. And the Meet the Team section over here tells you a little bit about the scientist, Professor Tim Noakes, the nutritionist, Sally Ann Creed, and the adventurer and the chef. So the adventurer is David Grier, who's had a lot of success with this particular diet, and then the chef, Jonno Proudfoot, that put the meals together. And they've got the glossary, which outlines all the different terms they use, the LCHF, so that's the low carb, high fat, where Banting comes from, IR, insulin resistance. So a number of the different types of terms that they use are explained over there. It goes through over here another story about Simon Grier, we all know the weatherman, and how he implemented this diet, and there's a number of other stories there as well. And then they go back to the basics. So they trace back how the Banting diet came about, where the concept of the high-fat, low-carb eating came from. It is worth taking some time to read through all of this before you just dive into the recipes themselves. So he discusses the science behind eating fat and how that affects your insulin. So before you jump into any of the meals, it's very important that you go through all of these so you understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. Over here, he's got a whole section of uncovering Banting, his whole history, following his evidence, keeping in mind that Tim Noakes is a professor and has studied this in great detail. So I can see that the book has been backed by science. He has really done the research on this, making me believe this won't be one of the fad diets. So he has really detailed information about the food, how it affects you through childhood, through menopause. So he's really gone into all the hard work. It's definitely not going to be a fad. Moving further on, he goes into what you need to do to prep your indispensables in the fridge, what to look for vegetables, as far as what to look as proteins concerned, how to avoid your carbohydrates. It's really worth reading each section so you've got a clean understanding of it. He goes through the different types of proteins, dairies, fats, condiments, sweeteners, vegetables, which are good for you when following this particular diet. Moving further on, you see there's a lot of information going into it. And then it touches on their recipe section, and this is where the book gets interesting because obviously we're a cooking website and this is our main thing, is to get into the recipes themselves. So it's outlined as the basics, breakfasts, meat, there's a poultry section over there, you've got fish and seafood, sides and salads, and then entertaining, which is all the additional things that you can have if you get people around. So we go further on, you can see they have all the information about the different types of fat, different cuts of meats that you can have. And then here starts all the recipes. One thing to note, that I've seen as we go through this book, there is not as much meat as I thought. There's a lot of other what we call real or whole foods broken down here. It's not all about grabbing the biggest piece of meat you can find. You see the recipe here, cauliflower and cauli rice. That seems to be one of the staples in it. You've got cauli mash. As I go through, you can see carb-free pastas. You've got the recipe, you've got the picture, and you've got the method, which is really easy to follow. Going further on, courgette noodles. So you'll have his recipe, what to get together, the method, and how many people it serves. So again, you can see as we're going through this section, we're yet to find any of the, what everyone believes would be the high-fat meat. So you've got carb-free bread broken down, how to make it, ingredients needed, the method, and then a wonderful picture of the bread itself. They've got the tortillas. You can see as we're going through here, balancing mayo, we're still yet to find the stereotypical, what everyone believes, the unhealthy foods. Then you see over you got your smoked mackerel, so he goes into the different types of fish. He's got egg recipes there, egg baconaise. There's a trout and cream omelette, so he goes through method again, what you need, and how many people it serves. It's all really simple. One thing I've noticed, you don't have to be an expert chef to cook any of these. Any person can cook this at home quite easily. So if we just jump on a little bit more, we're going to go past the beginning section. Here he comes to his meat and poultry sections, and something notable over here, different from all the other recipes that you may see or traditionally around a South African brow table, is the lack of carbohydrates there. So he's broken down what you need to eat at specific meals, which is great. So moving on, you got your fiery beef with cashews. So it's not a traditional, just a chunk of meat. It's definitely not that. He's got the dressing, he's got the salad, he's got the preparation of the meat, making a beautiful meal over there. So moving further on, you've got your beef with cauli mash shepherd's pie. So one of the notable difference here is if you're making your shepherd's pie, there's no longer the potatoes on the top there. That's now been replaced with a cauliflower type mash. Going further on, he does have the deboned leg of lamb. There is meat towards the end, but it all goes through how you prepare it. One of the things to note is there's very little processed foods here, not much stuff that you get from a packet. You can identify what every single thing is as you go through all the recipes. So there's definitely no shortage of interesting things to cook. You've got everything that you need, from your breakfast, your lunches, your dinners, your meats, your chickens. It's all here, quite easy to cook and quite easy to follow along. Towards the back of the book, he's got more of his fish recipes, tips and tricks on the inside over there. And coming towards the back of the book, he has the interesting stuff for entertaining. So you've got your nutcrackers over here, which you could make with dips, your hummus, which you would do, hot smoked fish pate. So there's a number of different entertaining options if you were to get friends around and you didn't want to dump all the heavy foods on them immediately. And then going towards the back section of the book, there's a very detailed section on Professor Tim Noakes, how he put everything together, all the research that he did as far as insulin resistance is concerned, all the myths about carbohydrates, etc. I advise that you take some time to read all of this and you can make your own mind up as to whether you believe this is the best diet for you to follow, and that's very detailed at the back. So the back and the front of the book is very, very detailed. Going to the back, you've got your index where you can just go through to your recipes really, really quickly. Now that we've gone through the inside of the book, you can see it's really interesting, very detailed, not just a cookbook in itself. There's a lot of backed up information. Professor Tim Noakes has done a lot of research, a lot of science-based information in here about the diet itself. One thing I've noticed is it's not just stereotypical, let's just eat lots of fat and carry on with everything else. You have to follow this really strictly, like any diet. Do all the research, see if it is for you, because you're not going to be out eating takeaways and processed foods, etc. You need to follow this quite strictly. It is quite easy to follow as far as the recipes and everything else is concerned, but definitely worth taking the time to read the front and back section before you just dive in and start making all the recipes. You need to understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. So there is that review of the Real Meal Revolution book available from our site. It's quite a good, heavy book. There's a lot of information in it, good recipes, as well as a lot of science-based information as far as this book's concerned. So if you guys are enjoying the product reviews, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel or go check out all our social streams. We keep you up to date with all the new releases and everything that we've got going on. So that's it from me, guys, and I look forward to hearing about your kitchen adventures really soon.